tea.
Hello, I'm Mike Gordon. Welcome to my perfect playthrough of Sonic Jam for the Sega Saturn. And perfect playthrough conditions, I have to clear all the games in the compilation, as well as Sonic World. I'll save Sonic World for the very end. Here's the selections, and I'm going to start with Sonic 1, of course. Settings all checked out. Alright, so for this game, I'm only going to prioritize on normal and easy difficulty settings. If you want me to play original mode, watch my perfect playthrough of Sonic 1. It is my 9th perfect playthrough, so you don't have to go that far back. So yeah, this basically becomes a perfect playthrough of Sonic 1, but on the normal difficulty setting. Now, this will be the only time I will specifically play through the entire campaign on normal mode. And I'll get out of any of these games, I'll get to the reasons why future episodes. For right now, I just want to show the differences. So, Sonic Jam was the first place that was actually the very first time that you could Spindash in Sonic 1. That was not added. That was added into Sonic Jam, but only with the options menu. After that, it would be a while before you would be given the options to Spin Dash in Sonic 1 again. In fact, it would be Sonic 1 on the Game Boy Advance. Yeah, that infamous piece of shit. Anyways, I got the first Chaos Emerald. So, okay, here are the differences between normal and original gameplay. There are no enemies over that first bridge. And it's very clear, the difference between original and normal difficulty setting, it's mostly the same Sonic experience, but the level design was tweaked. The difference was that the level design was tweaked. Like here, there's a bridge that wasn't there before. And that entire section of the movie platforms was shortened significantly, so you'll accidentally fall out of bounds and die. So, there was definitely some trollish or dickheadish level designs here and there in the original level designs that was probably considered too cheap and unfair. That is the original difficulty setting. So normal basically takes the original game and tweaks the little design just a bit so to give players a more fair experience. As for easy mode, I will show that off next time. Alright, just trying to get this. Ooh, that was close. I don't need the continues. Now, also, Sonic Jam marks the first time you could save your progress in Sonic's 1 or 2. However, it doesn't work the way you think. I'll show off how it works at the very end of the episode, because that's what matters most. Alright. Gonna take that. What happened there? Alright. Invincibility, so Eggman 1 is gonna be a cinch. Also, another difference between Sonic Jam and the OG Genesis version, a lot of sound effects literally sound like they played on a took 16-bit noise and put on a stereo sound. Genesis games were typically the sound quality of Genesis games were generally mono rather than stereo, but because the Saturn uses stereo sound, they update some of the sound effects like that to sound like it comes out of stereo. Those old CD-based games on like the PlayStation and Saturn, believe it or not, actually could be played on a CD player. Or you could listen to music. Just don't listen to the first track if you do. Decide to play on a music player because it's just static. Why? Because the first track just carries the sound, the game's assets in an audio format, so it's just broken sound. Alright, I need some rings, so I go in here, pick up all those ring boxes, and the 1-up. Alright, and... So yeah, those bat things were not swarming nearby because they were probably thought as a bit too cheap for a newcomer, so they removed it. It's not an extensive overhaul of the original game. Oh, excuse me. It's not this extensive overhaul of the original game per se, but... Ooh, that was close. But there are some tweaks in the level design to make it more accessible to audiences. That's what separates normal from easy mode. So you see a certain layout that's supposed to be a certain way, but it's not. That's the reason why. Why Sonic will be the only game that I play on normal difficulty? Well, I'll get to that when the time comes. But spoiler alert, clearing each individual level unlocks that level stage in time trial mode. So beating the game essentially unlocks all of time trial for that specific game. What I didn't know is that all the time attack levels are based on the game's normal difficulty, not original. So I played this game on normal difficulty because I thought, for part 1, because at the time, I honestly thought that all the time trials would be based on original mode. When I found out that normal difficulty does not have original mode, and check this out. I need to take care of my ring count. You know, there's no spring there. There used to be an original, but not anymore because that was deemed a bit too cheap. I just want to be safe. And oh yeah, that star post is now here. Checkpoint is down there instead of up there to the left. just gonna head straight down. So, I'm sort of speedrunning through the game's normal difficulty setting, semi-speedrun. Because for now, I am primarily concerned with just getting enough rings to enter the special stage. Ugh. Can you tell I'm sick? Alright, I'm just gonna head down here. This special stage is quite noticeable in that it's always like super easy to get a continue there. And if you're really struggling, it becomes super easy to get an extra life as well. But so far, I made through the first and fourth stages really quickly. The second and third ones were some pretty close calls, but I feel content with the results. And of course, now I don't really need to take care of my rings because there are no giant rings at the end of Act 3. So you can't get the Chaos Emerald in Act 3. This is one of the big improvements I thought Sega had when developing Sonic 2, because they replaced those giant rings at the end of stages with the special stage entrances being at the star pose. And keep track of your progress when you die. Oh. And of course they had a block there. For convenience sake. Again, it's just little tweaks here and there to make the game a bit more salvageable for casuals without being too easy. Now, when I get to the easy mode, I do think this is another reason why I played... Why does the screen keep flickering off? Alright. Just gonna play it safe now. This ain't a speed run. Why do speed run? I'm gonna do crazy strats and even damage abuse just to get things done as quickly as possible. I'm not gonna do any sequence breaks. I'm not a speedrunner by trade. I'm a very casual Sonic player, but I'm efficient enough that I can beat these games in less than an hour. Heck, 100% these games in less than an hour. Yeah, that was bad obstacle placement. And oh yeah, the difference between the Star version and the Genesis version is that the music seems to reset whenever you open like an extra life monitor or a speed shoes monitor. Like, it doesn't continue where it leaves off when you open those monitors and you hear that jingle play or it speeds up. No, it just starts over. Yeah, he's so cute. So content on my lap. He's gonna make my legs fall asleep. Alright, let's try and navigate this. This is also fairly easy to get a continue in. Although it isn't quite as surefire. Okay, so I got the continue a little late. I don't need it. So Chaos Emerald number 5, just one more to go, and I can just gun for the exit. And there's no enemy guarding there. Okay, so that's another difference. Oh yeah, it's normal difficulty, not original. That was close. Super close. I'm almost at 100 rings, I might as well pick some up. I think that's good. Just barely. So just one more Chaos Emerald, and I could just make a beeline for the end of the game. I'm gonna tell you now, spoiler alert about easy mode. There's only 6 levels, not counting the final boss, there are exactly 6 levels in Sonic 1. Not counting Final Zone, there are 6 levels in the very first Sonic game. You can only obtain Chaos Emeralds in the first 5 stages. Even though Scrap Brain Act 1 actually... this is the only part where we can't skip over those moving blocks. No enemies down there. Like there should be. Yeah, it's kind of fun to pick up those differences. Well, I'm not gonna really have time to do this when I got time attack mode for all the other stages. Just note that when I'm playing a game on game's time attack mode, it means I'm playing it on the... It's going to be set on the normal difficulty setting. Just have to make it to the boss arena. Now I can just make it to the extra life because I'm here. And this is going to be essentially critical because on easy mode, not only are the stages modified even further to make them easier, you're only required to play 1 act per level. Scrap Brain, you cannot access the special. Even though we can play Scrap Brain Act 1, there is no there will never be a giant ring at the end of Scrap Brain 1. Meaning, there are 6 Chaos Emeralds. We can only gain 5 of them. Actually, it's worse than that because one of the levels, Labyrinth Zone on easy mode, only chose Act 3 to be its lone act. represented on easy mode. What this results in is that you can only gain 4 Chaos Emeralds in Sonic 1 easy mode in a perfect playthrough of that game on easy mode. 4 out of 6. Meaning without cheating, it is impossible to get all the Chaos Emeralds of the first Sonic game if played on easy mode. Which is kind of stupid. You'd think they would have planned for that. But don't worry, I have a plan for Sonic 1's easy mode, because I know about not just a very notable cheat, but an exploit too. Let me just try to nab that. Okay, I nabbed the ball. Now, to be fair, Labyrinth is probably the worst zone in the game, bar none, to go emerald farming. Though if you're going to do it anywhere, I'd recommend that you do it in Act 2. Why? Because you use the shortcuts in Act 1, there aren't enough rings to collect in order to make accessing the special stage possible. Whereas there's more than enough in this room, thanks in large part to this room here. Now, I'm gonna tell you something, the Spindash absolutely makes mincemeat out of this stage. Only if you know when to use it. Oh, there's no, orb not there, so... Well, yeah, that's a tweak. That is a tweak because that they added to improve level design on normal difficulty. I do think it is, thanks to the presence of normal and easy difficulty, that some people do view Sonic Jam as the definitive way of playing these games. I don't know about that. Personally, I still rather go back to the OGs on the Genesis. No spears coming up there because, again, normal difficulty versus original. Just being overly cautious. Alright, hit the switch. Alright, come on, Bubbles. Alright, I think I should be good for the rest. I need to deal with the Orbinauts. I almost missed those platforms. Well, if you were to miss those platforms, the water would come back down. Well, it would come back down eventually. I don't need to grab that. Or because there's more differences. Up here, there are fewer spears jutting out of the walls than there used to be. No spear there. No spears there. I reckon it has to be possible to beat this guy on easy mode. Oh yeah, on easy mode all the bosses take 3 hits to kill instead of 8. Or 12 in the case of the Eggman robot. Okay, these are not bad to get if you were gunning for the Chaos Emerald still. By the way, as far as are there any differences between the special stages on normal or easy the difficulty versus original? I have spotted a few differences in the other Sonic games. I haven't spotted any difference between the special stages here in Sonic 1. So maybe that's problematic. And this is where we get to go really fast. Oh yeah, they fixed the physics so you could actually hold the spin as much as possible. We jump, tar jump, and we will hit on top of the wall and then face through it. Go up here. And this is a convenient place to nab 50 rings if you're short. So you can access the giant ring at the end in case you still need a Chaos Emerald. Especially since this would be your very last chance at getting a Chaos Emerald if you haven't got them all already. So, yeah. My best slip so I can do the spin. Otherwise, Sonic will just go flying off the steep slope. Yeah, look. There is a platform that we could have rode on top of. Yeah, I still have to jump in or evade those bombs. I want to take the upper route because that's the safer route, as well as the faster one in general. More than one on the CMs. I don't get it. But yeah, I made the right but it did end up making the right what is it called? So that is Starlight in a nutshell. Now we are going through Scrap Brain, the final level in the game. I'm the only one to completely change backgrounds all 3 times for each of its 3 acts. Out of the entire trilogy of Sonic games, might add. Although we do come pretty close with we do come pretty close with Sonic 2's Sky Chase, Wing Fortress, and Death Egg zones. And we also come pretty close a few times in Sonic 3 and Sonic & Knuckles. So yeah, even though you can still get those extra points from finding the right spots that they're located, there's no giant ring at the end if you fail to get all the Chaos Emeralds by then. Worst part, if you don't get all the Chaos Emeralds, you don't by then, you have to start the whole process of collecting them all over again. Even if you decide to continue a new game right from where you left off. You are essentially have to start all the way back from square one. Why am I ranting about this subject when I already got the Chaos Emeralds? Just to give you guys a heads up for when I play this game on easy mode. Okay, there was no buzzsaw that came out at the end there, so that's another difference between normal and original. I mean, this is the final level in the game, so there aren't going to be too many differences between original and in normal difficult in the normal settings. Honestly, that's a bit confusing, labeling it original mode and normal mode. But I guess it's really just a close approximation between the two, except normal tweaks the level designs just slightly in places to make it a bit more digestible. I do think they probably could have called it something else. And of course, it's still here, but it doesn't matter. Here it is, File Zone, and unlike before, there are rings here. That is the final change between normal and original mode in this game. Is they give you rings, so I don't really get how that makes things that much easier. The most dangerous thing about this boss are the pistons Eggman runs. The orbs of light, I guess, can be pretty dangerous, and that's what the rings are meant to protect you from, but yeah. They're usually very easy and well telegraphed, so it's easy to dodge them. I think we need just one more hit to kill them. Yep. And this boss is even more pathetic on easy difficulty setting. Never mind the 3-hit rule I just mentioned. Anyways, we've beaten the game. Honestly, I do like some of the tweaks made to the Genesis version of this game. I think it makes things a bit more fair. Alright, then that's another difference between the Genesis and the Saturn version is the load times. Yeah, the load times are not that difficult to spot in Sonic 1, but you can still spot them if you look hard enough here and there. And you can definitely see it with the end credits music that you hear in the background because it's a bit out of sync with the visuals that you see here. So I'm trying to spot when the visuals go about seeing. So it's around this time that the music and the audio and the visual and the video doesn't sync up well. And that's not an emulation thing right there. It's not an audio or it's not a recording thing. It is literally a Sonic Jam thing. It's a Saturn thing. So if I have to take a guess, I think the Saturn version of Sonic Jam actually increased the speed of the game. Just a little bit. Of Sonic 1, just a little bit. And that is what results in the discrepancies in terms of visuals and sound. So now the question becomes, how do we exit this game and return to the main menu? Do we just power off? Actually, no. You know how I mentioned that this marks the first time you could save your game and play these OG games? Well, you have to start a new game. You press pause right here. You can restart the game or you can exit the game. That's it. You exit the game from the pause menu. And when you hit save game down below, it sends you right where you left off. On whatever level that you happen to be on when you have left on wherever you left off. So I'm just gonna play through this entire zone a bit because this could lead to some interesting experimentations if I decide once I decide to play this game on easy mode. Because the question is, can you save your progress when entering a special stage? The results are a bit interesting. So I earned enough rings to enter this special stage here. I'm gonna pause, exit out. I'm gonna save it, and I hit save game. It's Green Hill Zone Act 1 again. Yep. So I don't think I'm going to make use of this method when I play easy mode, so I'm going to make use of some backup strats. Now that we clear all the zones, we do have access to all the time attack modes here, but I want to play the game on easy mode. Yeah, I'm double checking. So next time, my perfect playthrough of Sonic Jam, we are taking on Sonic 1's easy mode. Tune in to find out how I get all the Chaos Emeralds on only 4 tries. Like, comment, share, and subscribe to my channel. I greatly appreciate it. With that out of the way, this is Mike Gordon, sign out.